What's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I just got off the airport, came back home. One of the first things I had to do was film an episode for you guys because we just passed 200,000 subscribers and I appreciate everybody who took the time to click that subscribe button and join the channel, join the community. Today we are talking about what is the best guards. What are the best positions to hold your hands? What are the pros and cons of each? We're going to touch on all of them and hopefully by the time you leave, you will have a better understanding of why some people hold their hands like this, some like this, some like this. We're going to make sure we get it all covered. So one of the things in martial arts that irks me a little bit, I find it a little bit frustrating, is you're going to go to a gym and they're going to tell you this is how you hold your hands. You go to a different gym, this is how you hold your hands. And it's always going to change because the instructor is going to show you their favorite way. They're not going to go, oh, okay, you know what, based on this body size or this strength or this weakness, we're going to make adjustments. Generally, it's everybody fights the same way. And you guys have to do some research, which is what you're doing right now on your own, where you go and you find out what the strengths and weaknesses are of those hand positions and which one is the best for you. And that is the main thing which is important, not what is the best for me or your instructor or somebody else at the gym, what is best for you. So let's just get started. Let's break down each of these different guards. The first one, we're not going to worry about stances, by the way. We're just going to focus on what our hands are doing, what position you're in to get yourself into that offense zone, but also to be defensive. So the first one is going to be the Dutch style guard. That is when the hands are clamped right to your head. You're creating almost a turtle shell with your forearms, gloves protecting the upper head, and your elbows are there to protect your body. The strength of this is it is very hard to penetrate through that guard. If somebody is effective with it, you can bang away on them and feel like, oh yeah, I'm hitting, but it's very rare where you're actually going to find an open target. The downside, obviously, is as you're getting hit, some people will argue that you're getting rocked, you're getting jostled around. I don't feel like I get jostled around when I'm in there because the neck tightens up, the back engages, the stomach tenses, the arms are fairly strong, but you are still to a certain extent taking some punishment. As opposed to having a guard where you're longer and you're creating distance or you're catching, the Dutch guard is going to be the position where you take the most impact when punches land on you. Not land through, but just land on the arms. The next position which I want to cover is going to be a slight extension of the arms. So they're out here. This is actually one of my favorites. Very often you guys will see me in my fights with my hands really tight, but as I start to get further in the fight and I start to read my opponent a little bit better, I get more comfortable, then my hands will be more out here. The reason I like this one is it's very easy to fall into that Dutch guard, which is super safe, but it is also very simple from here to get parries off or catch shots. And in addition, your hands don't have to travel as far because you're only coming from this zone as opposed to right here. It might not seem like a big difference, but when you take about 1/5 of the punching distance away, then the punch should be faster. The downside of this guard is you're not really having lots of range where it's easy to catch with your arms, but you're also not tight. So you have to end up utilizing a little bit of footwork to make sure that the person is missing or be able to go from that slightly elongated arm position to a tighter one. But overall, my favorite, I think, and the one that I like to utilize the most. But that is not to discount our next one, and that is when we start seeing people with their hands out here. You will see this more so in high-level boxing, especially from the Russians, as opposed to in kickboxing. And one of the big reasons is as the arms elongate, what's going to happen is it's going to become that much more difficult to block the kicks, especially round kicks to the side. But from here, it's very easy to parry shots and make it very difficult for anybody to get within range to land good punches. The downside of this one is once your arms are extended, if somebody does get around, if they do get around these arms, maybe they fake a hook and you go to block and then they come with a cross and you don't get that hand to parry quick enough, then once you end up getting hit, now your arms are not there to help you and you're gonna have to close up or move your feet very quickly. But having those hands out there, there are times where it works very, very well. And that takes us to the next guard, which is the Muay Thai guard. But it's just a little bit of a flare out with the palms. Elbows usually elevate a little bit. The reason this guard is utilized in Muay Thai so often is the punches are not a main part of Muay Thai. The elbows are slightly flared so that when somebody comes to block a kick, it's already out there. That elbow's already in a strong position. If I go like this and I come here, then I also have to do that. So if you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna be fighting somebody who's a big puncher, I don't understand the point in doing this unless you're really darn good at throwing counter round kicks, utilizing head movement, catching. But if you're newer and somebody's gonna break through this long guard, or not long guard, but this slightly distance from the head guard, you're gonna have a lot of trouble. So be very aware of these ones out here, being a little bit more dangerous for punches, but very effective at maintaining control and range. Once you start getting in tighter, you have that little bit more fear of, okay, if they do hit me too many times and I'm not learning how to do the Dutch guard properly, yes, it could damage me. But again, in my experience, I've never found that. I've never found somebody hit me through the guard and I was like, whoa. And that still happens to me, or I'm still able to say that even sparring bigger guys. Bring in a 200-pound guy and he throws a head round kick. As long as I block properly, I don't really feel it the way some people describe, where they're like, oh, it's really uncomfortable inside that Dutch guard. Now, a couple other positions which you may see more so in MMA because the gloves are smaller, but you may see people and they have their hands down here or they're moving them around. This is still another style of defense, but this is going to be more so I have to utilize head movement and I have to utilize foot movement. It's not really hands up anymore, but you will see these guys occasionally. They'll be here and they'll get their hand out and they'll parry some shots. But again, I would not advise that unless you're very quick on your feet, very good at cutting angles, and especially you're very comfortable with your head movement. Because as soon as your hands drop, you don't have that defense anymore. It doesn't matter if it's here, 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 or here. These are all far superior to blocking punches as opposed to down here, obviously. So just be ultra aware of all the different stylistic differences, the strengths, the weaknesses. Try them out, play with all of them, and then see what works for you. I did not just end up at this one here because somebody just said, this is what you're supposed to do, and we're just gonna make you do that time and time again. I played with the long arm out there. I've played with the Muay Thai style before. I've tried this sort of stuff, but I always find like I feel a little bit exposed, a little bit weaker. So I go with what I feel best with. And that's what I want everybody on the channel to do. Remember, defense is undertrained, underutilized. Play around with the different guards and create something that feels really strong to you. That's all, guys. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for 200,000 subscribers. Very exciting. And I will have more exciting news coming on the channel very soon about upcoming projects I'm going to be doing and changing up this backdrop so I actually get a proper filming studio, bringing other people in once I have my filming studio so it's not only me. Lots of cool things coming. We're going to get this channel from 200 to 300,000, hopefully within a year from now. That's my goal. 1 year, 100,000, working my way up to 1 million at some point in the future. As always, guys, train hard and I will see you back here soon for another video.